You've heard our young Albert Ramsbottom in the zoo up at Blackpool one year, with a stick with an horse's head handle, give a lion a poke in the ear. The name of the lion was Wallace. The poke in the ear made him wild, and before you could say, "Bob's your uncle," he'd up and he'd swallowed the child. He was sorry the moment he'd done it, 'cause with children he'd always been chums. And besides, he'd no teeth in his noddle, and he couldn't chew Albert on gums. He could feel Albert moving inside him as he lay on his bed of dried ferns, and it might have been little lad's birthday he wished him such happy returns. But Albert kept kicking and fighting till Wallace arose, feeling bad, and decided it was time he started to stage a comeback for the lad. So with his head down in a corner, on his front paws he started to walk. And he coughed and he sneezed and he gargled till Albert shot out like a cork. Well, old Wallace felt better directly. His figure once more became lean. But the only difference with Albert was his face and his hands were quite clean. Meanwhile, Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom had gone home to tea, feeling blue. Ma said, "I feel down in the mouth like..." Pa said, "Aye, I bet Albert does too." Said Ma, "It just goes for to show you that the future is never revealed. If I'd thought as we was going to lose him, I'd have not had his boots soled and healed." "Let's look on the bright side," said Father. "What can't be helped must be endured. Every cloud has a silvery lining. We did have young Albert insured." A knock at the door came that moment as Father these kind words did speak. 'Twas the young fellow from the Prudential. He'd called for their "tuppence per person per week." When Father saw who had been knocking, he laughed, and he kept laughing, so that the young man said, "What's there to laugh at?" Pa said, "You'll laugh and all when you know." "Oh, excuse him for laughing," said Mother, "but really things happen so strange. Our Albert's been ate by a lion. You've got to pay us for a change." Said the young fellow from the Prudential, "Now, come, let's understand this. You don't mean to say that you've lost him?" Pa said, "Oh no, we know where he is." When the young man had heard all the details, a bag from his pocket he drew, and he paid them, with interest and bonus, the sum of £9 4 and 2. Pa had scarce got his hand on the money when a face at the window they see, and Mother said, "Hey, look, it's Albert." And Father said, "Aye, it would be." Then Albert rushed in all excited and started his story to give, and Pa said, "I'll never trust lions again, not as long as I live." The young fellow from the Prudential to pick up the money began. But Father said, "Hey, just a moment. Don't be in such a hurry, young man." Then, giving young Albert a shilling, he said, "Pop off back to the zoo. Here's your stick with the horse's head handle. Go and see what the tigers can do."